Yeah. Don't get drawn in, by the way. These are my kids, but seriously, don't get drawn in, because the youngest one, Hector, on the right, he managed to inflict this on his older brother's arm through a t-shirt and a jumper, and he's only 2 years old. Yeah, quite a talented young man. The reason why I start my presentations with videos of my kids is because, for me, it had a fundamental change in my psyche when they were born. It had a massive effect. I started thinking about the climate problem, not just in the sort of short term, your life, but projected, and suddenly those numbers like 2050 had a lot more gravity. I got involved with Extinction Rebellion, which felt great, actually, being on the streets, taking direct action. But I got one little fight, and my mum got scared. You know it. You know, and my mum, I talked to my mum, talked to my family, talked to my parents, and they said, you know, what, are you sure you're doing the right thing? And probably with hindsight, they're right. You know, it felt good taking action with Extinction Rebellion, but did they have all the answers to the things that they're angry about? Probably not. So got busy, took a deep dive, really got involved, and out of that, Mycelium was born. We started our days as a research project with the other uni here in Sheffield, and we started learning about carbon accounting. Now, carbon accounting, for those who don't know, is the action of tracking carbon within traditionally a business, products as well, where you're trying to find out how much carbon is in there. And the project Carbon Accounting 2.0, what we're trying to find out is what's going on in the world of carbon accounting, what can be done to elevate it to the next level, because when you start scratching at the surface of carbon accounting, you realize that it needs a lot of innovation. But by far the biggest thing in that project, that all carbon accountants said the same thing, is there isn't a central resource, a place where they can share data. Now, all of the other problems that they have is going to take a long time to fix, like standardization, verification of those standards, you know, need government intervention. But the data share can be thought of straight away. So we're starting about fixing that with the world's first truly open source worldwide emissions database. So what this means is anyone can come on, search the platform for the data that you need. And crucially, this is so crucial, if you're holding on to data and you've done a carbon footprint for your business or your product, you can put it onto the platform, make a declaration to the world of your performance. Now, some of the stuff that's been talked about today, lowering carbon in products, Ricky's going to be working with businesses, they'll end up with a lower carbon footprint, but what do they do with it? Where does it go? Who finds out about it? We need a central resource that people can just access at a whim, and the data is made sense of so people can just digest it. And crucially, made sense of in a digital format. Not just, oh, here's our numbers, we'll exchange it on email. This needs to be hookable into as an API for all of the carbon accountants, all of the ESG scoring apps. Anyone who needs that data, they need it on the fly from a centrally updating resource. This is far more powerful. At the moment, what you find in the market is the carbon accountants of the world do this in isolation. They do this in silos. They're all working trying to do it. They all actually want the data for themselves because it's valuable to them, and then they're not willing to share it. So Mycelium Network is blowing the lid off that market. Let's find all of the data in the world. Let's put it into a central resource. Let's make it easy for businesses to come on, claim those listings, and make their statement to the world. We're harnessing the power of AI, and the speed of AI is moving at a rate of knots. We're now able to automatically search for a company, find their sustainability report if they have one, work out from the sustainability report that might be 200 pages long where the useful emissions data is stored on that PDF report. And now the next step, crucial timing from ChatGPT 4, is we think, give us a couple of weeks, we should be able to get that data off and put it into the right buckets on the database. So it's all happening very fast. In the UK, there's 13,000 companies that have to report under SECR, 250 employees or more. That makes 13,000 companies. We're starting our database right there, and then we will expand out to the world. I'm going to finish the talk now about, there's lots of stuff to talk about carbon accounting. It can go on for ages and ages, but if you're familiar with how carbon reporting works in the corporate world, it's split into 3 different emission types. Scope 1 is if you burn something. And a lot of businesses say, well, we don't burn anything, but you go, hold on, you've got a gas boiler. You do. If you need to heat your offices, you do burn something. Or if you've got a company vehicle. So that exists in Scope 1. Scope 2, which is what Ricky was talking about, that's purchased electricity. Most businesses will always have a Scope 2. And Scope 3 is like everything else that your business touches, things that you buy in, how your employees get to work. Now, there's roughly about 18 data points in here that should be reported for a full emissions profile. And what's also interesting is that the size of Scope 3 that you see on that diagram is also indicative of how much it covers. Like it's usually about 80 to 90%, especially the service business. And so this is just a small part of the picture. Yet up until now, people have said, oh, well, just tell us what happens, directly controlled within your remit. But actually the world is awakening and going, well, actually, if we want to sort out decarbonisation, this big bit is the bit that we have to sort. Now, what we do, and like I say, there's so much to sort out in this area, but I'm giving this example because it's important. Let's imagine a financial services company. They hardly emit any Scope 1, Scope 2, like small offices, they don't really do much. All the way over here, category 15 of Scope 3, that's their investments. So that's at 92% of a financial services company. Everything is in their investments. So if a company reports their carbon and misses this out, people don't know that right now. They give you their carbon footprint, they say, here's our carbon footprint, but they've left that out, which is criminal. So our platform is the antidote to that. We'll say, okay, well, if you leave that out, we'll calculate it for you. We'll re-put it back in. We can see all of the averages, but we'll penalise you in the lowest 10%. So it pays to do good, transparent reporting. On the other side, the utilities company, they need to report Scope 1 and Scope 2. That has a higher weighting. Because all the way down here, they don't invest in it. So it doesn't make sense to penalise companies for not reporting. It should be weighted on the averages. There's lots more to talk about. I think that's been less than 10 minutes. I think final slide is, here's our team. Sean happens to be my neighbour. Fantastic PHP coder. We've got another Sean in the business who is trailblazing in AI, a complete wizard. We've got a fantastic advisory board, 2 people ex Google who are amazing, and I've been Tom, founder of the Mycelium Network. Thank you very much.